Today I want to talk to you about a topic that I don't think really gets talked about a lot, and that is why do some older subdivisions, such as Valley Green, why do some buyers actually prefer neighborhoods like Valley Green instead of newer construction subdivisions? And there are a lot of buyers that much prefer in a more established older subdivision rather than a brand new one. And there's a lot of different reasons why. In fact, when I'm working with buyers, oftentimes I actually recommend to them that they look into some of the more established neighborhoods for a variety of different reasons. So I have here my article, which is published on my Valley Green neighborhood site, nickgsellsvalleygreen.com. And this is the article that I'm basically going to discuss and walk through. And it's, like I said, why do some buyers prefer Valley Green over a newer subdivision? So, and there's been a lot of new construction in the Upper Saucon area recently. So this is really relevant to what's going on right now. So the first topic that's in this article is that buyers are not just purchasing a house. So obviously there's a lot of difference between the houses, the newer houses and the houses that are 20 to 30 years old. But the buyers aren't just purchasing a house. They're purchasing into a neighborhood. They're purchasing into an area where they're going to envision their life happening on a daily basis. And Valley Green has a really nice feel to it. It's very mature landscaping. The houses are all unique. They're all different. It just has a really nice feel to it. Obviously, the location is also a prime location. It's close and convenient to everything. But like I said, buyers are not just going to look at the house. They're going to look at the feel of the neighborhood and if they can actually envision themselves living there long term. That's one of the main reasons why Valley Green does so well. And you see when listings come up in Valley Green, typically they sell right away. It's a very low turnover rate, so they don't come up very often. When they do, they usually sell really quickly. So, the next topic is actually about the landscaping. The mature landscaping creates a different feel, which I just sort of talked about. It changes the whole atmosphere of the neighborhood, and it just gives it a really nice feel for buyers that maybe aren't even familiar with it and they're just looking at it for the first time. Usually when I bring buyers into Valley Green, they usually like it instantly. They usually don't have any concern about the neighborhood itself and the feel of it. Buyers also often prefer a neighborhood with history, and this plays into it actually makes them feel more confident because Valley Green has an established identity. And houses, like I said, there's low turnover rate and houses sell quickly. So and it's been around for a long period of time, about 30 years or so. So that actually makes buyers feel more confident in their decision because they're not buying into an unknown. With a newer subdivision, it is a little bit of an unknown because if you're buying new construction, you don't know what the resale value is going to be. You don't know what the demand for that specific neighborhood is going to be in the future. You don't know if there's any issues that are going to arise that you're not thinking of. With Valley Green, it's already established. It already has a really strong, established track record. And that makes buyers feel a lot more confident in their decision. The other thing, like I also mentioned this already, is the location. The location is already proven. It's an excellent location. It's close and convenient to everything you could possibly need. There's nothing foreseeable that buyers are going to be concerned about as far as location goes. That's a huge factor. The actual physical location of Valley Green and also neighboring Sunrise Valley, for both of those subdivisions, the actual physical location is a huge positive for buyers that are looking in the area. Some of the newer subdivisions tend to be a little bit further out, so obviously they have to buy, like farmland or wooded land in order to develop these subdivisions. So some of them do tend to be a little bit further out or maybe not quite as convenient, whereas Sunrise Valley and Valley Green are right down the block from the promenade, right down the block from the schools. You have obviously access to 309, access to 78. Everything is literally right there. Even if you have to go the other direction and you have to get into Hellertown, it's a straight shot right down that way. So the location is just really central, and it's really what buyers are looking for. Buyers that want to live in Upper Saucon Township want this location. They want the location of Valley Green most of the time. Obviously, there's some buyers that prefer a more rural area. There's some buyers that like to have a lot of land. So, but I'm talking about in general, the suburban buyer for Upper Saucon, Valley Green is the prime location. So the other thing, and this is something that's really important, and I think that this is one of the actual main reasons why buyers prefer Valley Green, is that character matters. So the houses in Valley Green themselves and the neighborhood as a whole has a lot of character. If you look at the houses in Valley Green, every house pretty much looks different on the outside. They're all different styles. They all have different architectural details. That's something that's really important to buyers. And that's something that's really gotten lost as the years have gone on. If you look at some of the newer subdivisions, they are very cookie cutter. All the houses look, even though they might be different, they all pretty much look the same as far as they all just sort of blend in. They might have different siding colors, they might have different facades, they might be different floor plans, but they just look very similar, and they look very cookie cutter. Valley Green has a lot of character. The houses, both inside and outside, are different, and they look different, they feel different, and that matters to buyers. It's something that a lot of builders have really gone away from. If you look at new construction, a lot of them got rid of architectural details such as two-story entryways and two-story great rooms, and the stonework or brickwork on the outside is different. There's so many things. There's a lot of things that have changed. Even sometimes just the woodworking, the molding and stuff. So, and also they upcharge you for everything, which I'm sure you already know. Anything that, I mean, every builder works differently and has different packages, but basically anything you want to do to the house is an upcharge most of the time. So Valley Green having that character, the houses having character, is something that I actually, when I talk to buyers that I'm working with, it's something they really value. They like the fact that the houses have character and the neighborhood has character. New construction is good for certain buyers, and it does have its benefits. And that's a personal decision that buyers have to make. They have to think what works for them. And for some buyers, the answer is new construction. Sometimes it's more beneficial. Even sometimes just due to availability. Sometimes they need to buy a house and that's what's available. But for a lot of buyers that I have worked with, the character of the neighborhood and the character of the houses has played a huge role in them wanting to live in a neighborhood like Valley Green. It's something that's really important that I think gets overlooked. The houses that are being built today just do not feel the same as houses that, even if your house is dated, maybe it's 30 years old and it needs to be updated, it still has the architecture and the bones and the features are there. And a lot of buyers would rather buy that structure and then they can always update it the way that they like to, rather than going into like a more cookie cutter type of subdivision. So it's something that's really important to take into account. The other thing, buyers consider resale value, and I already touched on this. Like I said, Valley Green's already established. Buyers know pretty much, unless something unforeseen happens, that the resale value is there. It's already an established neighborhood that people have repeatedly wanted to buy into over the last 30 years. So makes them much more confident in that decision to move forward and put an offer on your house if you're a Valley Green homeowner. So what are some of the reasons why new construction might appeal to buyers? It's things like energy efficiency has gotten better over time. Like I said, availability. Sometimes builders have quick delivery homes where a buyer is in a rush and needs to buy, and they might not want to wait for availability in Valley Green since it is such a low turnover rate. Maintenance sometimes, and that's also sort of debatable. In general, new construction is going to have a lower maintenance, but when you really think about it, once you buy the house, you still have to do your landscaping, you still have to put the fence up, you still have to finish the basement if it's unfinished, if you didn't get it finished by the builder. You still have to do painting most of the time because they just paint everything a neutral builder's color. So even though the maintenance would technically be lower on a new construction, there are other trade-offs to consider as well. So this is not about one option being better than another. It's about what buyers are looking for and what works best for them and their particular situation. And these are the conversations I have with buyers when I'm working with them, is what are they looking for and what works best for them? Because the answer is not going to be the same for everybody. But in general, I would say that between the two options, I personally believe that Valley Green is really a solid option for any buyer that's looking at Upper Saucon Township. And I do think that the benefits of it far outweigh a lot of the benefits that the newer construction has. Not for every buyer, but I would say for a large number of buyers. So these are some of the reasons why Valley Green appeals. Obviously, there's a lot more. But these are some of the main takeaways, and I just wanted to sort of give you my perspective of not only what my opinions are as a realtor and being out in the field, but also what I'm actually seeing when I'm talking to my buyers directly. So this article is published on my website if you want to read it. Like I said, my neighborhood site, nickgsellsvalleygreen.com. And there's a lot of other articles on there as well specific to Valley Green, and a lot of really good resources for sellers in Valley Green, including my Upper Saucon Seller's Guide. So if you're a homeowner in Valley Green, or if you're a buyer that really wants to eventually buy a house in Valley Green, check out my website, nickgsellsvalleygreen.com. Like I said, a lot of good resources on there. But like I said, I feel like this topic is not really talked about enough. Why buyers are choosing established neighborhoods over newer construction a lot of times. And I just wanted to sort of give that perspective and let you know what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from buyers in the area. So check out nickgsellsvalleygreen.com, and I will be back here soon.